This is my prototype Santa sleigh, except it's not pulled by reindeer because more people on Earth means more presents than ever, and Santa needs something faster, more maneuverable, and more powerful to deliver them on time. But since Santa's stuck in the past, I'm gonna help out by replacing his 8 reindeer with 150 horses. This is the snowmobile I'm gonna use instead of reindeer. This is an 800cc snowmobile. This should more than tow our sleigh. In fact, it might throw me out of it. Of course, the problem is, how am I gonna control this snowmobile when I'm standing 10 feet away in a sleigh towed behind it? My plan is to make a set of metal reins that extend the snowmobile controls back to where I'll be in the sleigh. Then I'll build my very own present hauler and connect it to the snowmobile, and once everything's working together, I'll race it against Santa's time on a present delivery course to see how much faster it really is. So the idea is the snowmobile's over there. I'll have a set of grips, one with a thumb throttle and one with a brake, that'll let me control the snowmobile like this. The plan to control the snowmobile is to make a set of bar ends that replace these hand hooks, and instead let me connect a set of control arms to the handlebars. It might go without saying, but this specific joint is gonna get more stress than anything else in the system, and because of that, it needs to be super duper beefy. So, first I'm gonna design some 3D printed prototypes, and then I'm gonna get a final part CNC'd by Send Cut Send to slot in here and let us control this entire ridiculous sleigh contraption. Okay, this is the new prototype of the bar ends. Hopefully these are a perfect fit. Oh yeah. Yeah, that bad boy's not going anywhere. Well, that's a pretty snug fit. The only problem is that the heim joint can't really go up and down very much. So this is gonna need a couple of spacers, but other than that, I think this is in pretty good shape. I will definitely be able to control the snowmobile off of that. So I ordered an aluminum set from Send Cut Send, and while waiting for those to arrive, I got to work extending the controls. I can use something like a throttle cable to bridge the distance from this control to the ones on the snowmobile, but I'm gonna need something stiff to actually let me pull it. And after much deliberation, the best solution I've come up with is conduit. Conduit is light, slightly flexible, and easy to cut to size. But to connect it to my handles and heim joints, I need to add screw threads. So I bought an extra long nut, and after scuffing it up, I glued one into each end with epoxy. I'm gonna let this set up overnight, and when I come back, hopefully I've got a couple of solid plugs at each end. All right, it's been about a day. The epoxied inserts at the end of this control arm should be fully set now, so I wanna see if they can hook up to the snowmobile. Oh yeah. Wow. So you can move way up and way down, and dude, that totally works. Score. I need to make another one of these, but I also still need to make the grip handles. The plan for these hand grips is super simple. I'm gonna use a piece of handlebar tubing to attach the thumb throttle and the brake lever, and then I'm gonna make like a loop of square steel tubing around that to protect my hands and connect it to these actual pipes. On the outside of that square piece, I will weld a single bolt, and that is what will screw into the other end of the control arm. Haha, okay, that's pretty good. I've got a good grip on the bar and good access for my brake lever. Now I'm gonna try to run the cable, and then I'm gonna work on the other side of all of these same components. To attach the brake cable, I made a small bracket to hold the metal end and welded it on top before zip tying my cable to the control rod. This is a throttle cable. There are many like it, but this one is mine. So the way a throttle cable works is that when you pull the cable at one end, it retracts at the other end. It's not rigged up super permanently or anything, but this end looks good, and when I pull the lever, I can tell that I'm pulling at that end. So obviously I need a better way of attaching it to the brake handle, but as you can see, it's working. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side for the throttle, starting with another tube. You guys are gonna get a lot of shots for this project where you can't see all of the pieces of the work surface, and that's just because my shop's not big enough. So if you wanna help support the channel, please subscribe and consider supporting us on Patreon. We could really use the help. All right, the second control rod looks like it's in great shape. Now that I've got this second control rod done, I need to make the grab handle for the other side so I can control the throttle with it. So just like the other one, I have to put the thumb throttle on before I weld it up, but that's also why I'm taking this cover off. I want to take anything plastic out of it so that it doesn't melt while welding. Okay, now I need to do the throttle side control arm. So I'm gonna attach it to the bar, connect my handle at the other end, and then we can start figuring out the routing of the cable so that I can pull the actual throttle. Oh, this is exciting. This is very exciting. Oh yeah, yes, brother. Oh God, this is gonna be so scary, but I'm stoked. All right, now to run the throttle cable. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't have like a big plan for this. Somehow it needs to connect to here, so I decided to make a bracket like I used for the brake cable, but that I could screw into my bar end instead. Wait, it's too close, isn't it? Yes, yeah, that'll do it. That should do it. I think I can start routing it all the way back. Okay, I know this probably doesn't look ideal, but I actually think it should work. But frustratingly, it didn't work. The cable was just barely too short, so I had to cut and re-weld my handle to move the throttle closer. Any luck, and with this, I will have uncooked myself. And now I have this little tab on here to hold the actual throttle cable. Please work. Yes! We are cooking with gas now, boys. The only thing still uncooked was a way to connect to the snowmobile throttle, so I printed a temporary puller dingus to use for testing while working on a better solution. And does it pull? It does. Sweet, awesome. There's definitely still some stuff to tweak, but it's good enough for us to move on to the hitch. Because remember, I still have to make an entire sleigh. To make my life a little easier, I got this trailer tongue from a place called Hitchdock Outdoors. This is what I'll use to connect my sleigh to the snowmobile, but I'm gonna need an actual plate mount to hook it up. It's got a hitch pin on this end. On the other end, it's got these wedges with a couple of holes in them. That's what'll allow it to pivot. So I'm gonna start by making the trailer hookup. I thought of a number of different ways to fabricate this, but I think the easiest is gonna be using this little offcut of a piece from, I don't even know where I got this. I'll take this guy, weld this at a 30-degree angle, maybe add some little brackets for reinforcement, and then Bob will effectively be my uncle. This is our hitch bracket. I'm gonna drill a hole in this piece, and then this part will bolt to the snowmobile's J-hook, and this part will attach to the sleigh. Now that looks solid. I mean, I'm moving the whole snowmobile by this part. All right, now I'm gonna hook up the hitch so I can just get a vibe on where it exactly sits. Oh, nice. There's honestly more play than I thought there would be, so that's cool. It's got roll built in. Oh, dude, I think this is gonna be money. And now that the snowmobile modifications were done, I did a test to make sure it all works together. It works! All right, so the box with these Send Cut Send bar ends just arrived. Now to open it up and see if they actually fit. This is the first time I've ever had CNC parts milled for me. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, it's time for the best part of opening anything from Send Cut Send. More free candy. I don't know if other people do this, but like, I mean, I don't know, this is their competitive edge to me. So these should be the actual parts. They look really good. They look like a rendering. It's really important that these fit or I'll have to totally redo my design. It looks pretty good. Please fit. Yes. Oh my God, it's perfect. Dude. That might have been better than sex. That looks really solid. And that's the last thing I want breaking on this rig. Let's hope this side fits too. Should, and it does. And with everything sorted out on the snowmobile side, it was time to build a sleigh. The basic plan is to make a steel frame that'll connect to the skis and support the rider. Then I'll cut a set of sleigh-shaped side panels out of wood and add a wooden upper frame to mount them. So I just got this steel from the steel supplier, and now it's time to start making the frame for the sleigh. They spelled my name wrong. Those jerks. All right, and now I need to cut 10 of these. These are the vertical supports. Right now, I'm laying out the sides of the frame for the sleigh. It's important that it's like really, truly 90 degrees in all of the corners. And it's also important that I get the spacing right on these so that the amount of load they're each taking is good. We want this sleigh to be strong because Santa's sleigh has to carry lots of weight. And it's not just presents either, ayo. Okay, so I need to let this cool down, but it's looking pretty straight. And with these 5 huge supports in here, it should easily be able to hold the weight of the sleigh. I just have to duplicate it. Contact. 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 This is looking good. This is looking, I would say, as straight as the other one. The next step here is I need to attach this side of the frame to the other side of the frame with bars that will span the width and support the sleigh body. I grinded down my welds to flatten and prep the surface before doing an absolutely biblical amount of welding to secure the horizontal supports. Okay. So, this is good. Is this the largest frame I've ever welded solo? I think it is. Now I want to see what this looks like with the skis on it. So these are replacement skis for a cargo sled, but they're also just kind of the cheapest, easiest way to get skis that'll work for a snowmobile trailer. All right, I've got the skis mounted up, so now I'm gonna drill holes through them so I can mount them with bolts. All right, these skis look great. Now we already know this is strong enough to hold me, but once it's loaded up with the whole sleigh and all the presents, there's gonna be a lot more load on this. So I'm gonna make some cross braces that'll go in the corners just to help support all the weight. All right, now that'll support a lot of weight. I think I'm doing a pretty good job, and I think it's gonna be pretty stable. That's the thing I'm most concerned about. I really don't want to go flying off of this thing during a turn. And with the lower frame complete, it's time to make the body that'll turn this into a real sleigh. So I just picked up some 1/4-inch plywood, and this is what's gonna make the sides of the sleigh body. And I've got a trick to transfer my design from the iPad to this giant piece of wood. Using a projector on the ground, I can throw the design all the way back here and have it be perfectly flat. So now I'll trace the design to transfer it to the piece of wood, cut it out, and then duplicate it for the other panel. I'm using 1/4-inch wood because I want to keep the sleigh light, and the plywood will keep it strong enough for what we need. All right, the outline of the sleigh is looking pretty good, so I'm gonna fit this up to the frame. Oh, hell yeah. And then I can transfer it to make the other side. Awesome, perfect transfer. Now let's see how the pattern compares. I would say that's pretty dang good. So that's the walls. Now I need to make the floor a little bit of a cage. I can build a seat inside and then start mounting everything up. Using my table to measure the width, I cut out a piece of plywood for the floor, making sure to notch the corners to make room for the upper frame. I'm gonna grind down these welds so I can mount the floor. All right, I'm gonna cut the pieces of steel that'll form the upper part of the frame, and then I'm gonna start attaching wood and building the seat. Originally, I was just gonna use wood for the whole top of the frame, but keeping things as light as possible will also help keep the sleigh as fast as possible. And hollow steel is lighter than solid wood. All right, I think I'm done with steel. Now onto the wood parts of the frame. The main benefit of wood for me is that it's super forgiving, so I can be less precise and work more quickly. The seat and upper frame have a bunch of angled cuts, and in metal they'd need to be exact, but in wood, as long as they're close, I can make it work. Now that is some quality install. Then I think maybe we go boom seat, dude. I think this might be a boom seat situation. Actually, now, for the first time, we can see what it's more or less gonna look like for me to be in here. And I think it is big enough that you could bring a passenger.
Oh yeah, this is comfy.
This is actually not bad. Now I'm gonna make a seat and a seat back for the sleigh. So I'm gonna cut a couple pieces of this board, which is already the right width, and install them right over there. Nailed it. Dude, this looks sick. I almost wish I didn't have to paint it. Now that the seat's installed, I'm gonna flip this whole thing on its side so I can screw these seat supports in from the bottom and start mounting the walls. All right, now to start seeing what it looks like with the sides on there. I think this looks really sick. But I didn't really realize just how great it looked until I screwed the first panel on and flipped it up. Dude, this thing's freaking enormous. This is epic. All right. So I screwed on the other side and then moved on to the kick plate. It's okay. It's not really a huge problem. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. I'm not touching it again. That's how it's getting installed. All right, project update. If I want this video to come out by Christmas, I am going to need to blitz. This entire sleigh needs to be ready for paint tonight, otherwise the paint won't dry in time to film and get this video out to you guys. So, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna paint this whole thing cherry red. It's gonna be amazing. At this point, it was make or break, and I was flying by the seat of my pants. I made a quick set of upper and lower supports, screwed them to the walls, cut out some panels to fill the space, and screwed it all together. All right, that looks pretty good. Now for the bottom. All right, now I've got to install the kick plate. All right, the next thing I need to do is figure out mounting for the tongue. I decided to make a steel bar with a set of mounting tabs I could bolt the tongue through. And once I knew they fit, oh, pretty good, pretty good. All right. I welded it right into the sleigh. Bing, bang, boom. Super solid. Now to put a front on this thing, and then I can paint it. The front's finally on, which means I can paint. To help the paint stick, I coated the sleigh in a layer of primer before laying down 2 coats of cherry red spray paint.
Check it out.
Now I'm gonna add some gold accents to really sell that Christmas look. Now that the sleigh is mostly done, it's time to integrate everything. I need to make sure these poles actually work with this thing. I'm legitimately pretty concerned that these aren't gonna fit. No way, come on. Oh, dude, this is huge. This is the thing that I've been the most nervous about the whole project, and it looks pretty much good. Yes, yes. All right, we're back in action. Feeling good about this again. Dude, holy scheisse. This is gonna be so freaking cool. Like, are you kidding me? All right, it's finally time to put the gold trim on the edge. This is what's gonna really make it feel like a Santa sleigh. Now the only thing left was finishing touches. Once the gold was on, I connected the skis with low profile bolts, fixed my janky throttle situation with even more jank, and installed some vicious grip tape for maximum foot control, before we loaded up the sleigh to finally test whether it can beat Santa's reindeer. All right, we're finally out here. Sled's running, the sleigh is ready. Let's get this thing hooked up and see if it all works together. I am so excited to check this thing out. Oh boy. All right, there we go. I'm gonna schlep this up to our start location and then we're gonna head out. At least driving it as a snowmobiler, it works pretty all right. All right, now to see if this thing can actually be controlled by these abominations of poles. The tricky thing about this is that the throttle one, we have to fully install here. So these bar ends from Senkatsen, they're made of solid aluminum. So I'm just gonna tighten this nut straight on here. Excellent. Now for the throttle side, now the throttle side's a little different because I have to attach the cable after I install the actual bar. So on this side, the cable has to be permanent. Fire. For the occasion, I've decked out the sleigh in reindeer styling. All right.
Holy fucking shit. That's crazy.
All right, let's take this thing for a rip. All right, now the goal here is to figure out whether this sleigh is fast, powerful enough to carry all these presents, and maneuverable enough to go everywhere it needs to go. And so far, so good. Now let me compare seating to standing. Whoa. Oh, that's different. Dude, no freaking way. This is nuts. I think it's maneuverable, but I don't think it's very controllable. Oh, brakes work good. Yoo-hoo! Yeah, baby! Alright, I see why Santa sits down. Driving a sleigh is f***ing wild, dude! She's definitely quick. Fuck yeah! Alright, this guy's a little squirrely when you're standing because I should have added more grip tape, but it's working pretty well otherwise. The skis are, if anything, more responsive than I wanted. This is great. The weirdest part is I seem to keep like slipping all over in the sleigh, so I have to account for that as I steer. I gotta kind of keep a good amount of pressure on the reins, but like still have a loose enough grip to roll with the punches. It's an interesting feeling. Woo! We got the presents flying all over the place. I mean, if anything, maybe this thing's too powerful. I'm okay.
I have been imagining this for like 2.5 years. Aside from the fact that the sleigh kind of slides around, it's low-key, like it's pretty good. Like it works. I'm not terrified while I'm driving it. The throttle feels great. The brakes could be a little more responsive, but that's probably down to my cable. Frankly, what this needs right now is just more grip tape along the bottom. I only put it on the kick plate. I haven't been able to let it out fully though, and so I don't really know if it's still maneuverable when you start going faster. So, you know, we kind of just have to find out.
I don't know that I can turn around here. I'll try. All right. Now to see if I can actually do a U-turn. All right, hold on. There's one slight quirk, which is if I turn too hard left, it hits the gas. Get out of my fucking swamp. Okay, thank fucking God.
Obviously this thing is sick, but I need to know if it's better than Santa's sleigh. So I'm gonna take it on a present delivery course through the trees, some tight turns, uphills and downhills, to see how it actually handles in a real setting.
All right.
I'm getting a really good hang of this thing. Now I gotta test this thing for present delivery, and for that, I gotta be in uniform. Oh yeah. This feels much better. When running as a pack, Reindeer max out at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Obviously the Snowmobile has a much higher top speed, but the Reindeer can kind of steer for you. So I decided to do a 2-mile course to test whether my sleigh is actually faster, even though I have to control it the whole time.
Here we go. Let's deliver some presents. All right, let's go. Santa's gotta make some good time, dude. It's the only way we're gonna get there in time. Okay, first present delivery right here. Where is she? There she is. Oh boy. Terrible. Terrible. Out of here. Woo! Dude, this thing is sick! This is so fun to drive. Once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty maneuverable. And it's definitely fast. I kinda can't believe it. It's like Tokyo Drift meets chariot racing. Oh dude, now I'm drifting it on purpose. I'd call this maneuverable as heck. We are making insane time, honestly. Can't quite tell, but I think we're going about 30 miles an hour on average. 10 full miles an hour faster than Santa's Reindeer can go. All right, we got another present to deliver right around here. There she is. Where's the present? There it is. Enjoy your toy or something. Okay, good luck. See ya. Yeah, and we're out of here. Next delivery. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Now we gotta get to that third delivery. Dude, I don't know how fast we're going, but I think I'm hauling ass. Holy crap. I think we might actually bring her all the way home. got a little bit of a ways to go. Whoop. Definitely like a when in doubt, throttle out situation. You know, it is maneuverable, but it's a lot of work to drive this thing. Like, it's not easy. Santa's kind of an old man. Maybe this is a little high octane for his taste. The dicey section, a little high exposure, but we're handling it. All right, we're coming up on that third present delivery. Ooh, this is dicey. It's on a bit of a downhill. All right, third present to deliver right up ahead. I see the house, the green shack. I think we can get there. Yes, and deliver it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh man. Really, Billy? You had to pick this small of a box? And out of here! And here we go! Come on, bring her home! Skirt! Alright, dude, I think we did it. That was quick as heck. Holy crap, this thing is a riot to drive. It's fast as heck. Frankly, it's pretty maneuverable. And we weren't much faster than Santa, but yup, we were just in the Saint nick of time to beat him. I'm really impressed. Total success. I have so many more things I want to do with this, but we got to get this video out before Christmas. So I hope you like it, but please leave in the comments. What do you want to see? What do you want to see me do with this insane thing? See you next time.